In this class, I kind of like you to pick up, if there's anything you pick up in this story that you've never really heard in a book before, that might be of interest to me. And I want you to be thinking about what your favorite part is. I want you to think about the part you like the best. I want you to give me your honest feedback about if it's too long, if I described it enough, didn't describe something enough. I want you to just start with me with this story and picture it in your mind the whole way through. And that takes concentration, okay? But I think you can do it because I've watched the other two classes do it, and I think you can do it. So I need your help because I need to change it. I need to go see a publisher, and I need to see if he'll publish it for me. And then I'll come back with a picture book one day. Would that be nice?
Yeah.
Maybe for this Earth Day?
Yeah.
Would it be nice? But I want you to know, as young writers, I've been waiting 20 years to write the book. A book. Any book. I've been Auntie Litter so long that I never knew about writing a book. And then this past Earth Day, someone sent me a text message and said, I didn't write the book. I thought by now I would have written the book. I moved to Florida. I've got time to think about it. And they said, but the stories are in you. And this is my story. This is a story of what happened in Birmingham. Okay? All right. It's called, thank you, Miss Bennett. I'll see you before I go home, or you're busy. You'll call me, or
we're videoing.
okay. This book is for all the boys and girls that ever marched in the Auntie Litter Earth Day Parade in Birmingham, Alabama from 1991 till, let me start over. This book is dedicated to all the children around the world who want a clean and healthy environment, especially the children who marched in Auntie Litter's Earth Day Parade for 23 years. The story is called Earth, We're in It Together, written by Pat Mitchell, the original Auntie Litter. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is April 22nd, Earth Day, and we are going to have perfect weather for the annual Earth Day Parade and celebration downtown at Kelly Park, announced JJ, the local television reporter. Here to tell you all about our good friend for a clean and healthy environment is Auntie Litter. Evan stopped eating his cereal and looked closely at the television. Since he was new in town, he had never seen Auntie Litter before. Dressed in earthly colors of green, white, and blue, with patriotic stars and stripes, she smiled and spoke cheerfully to the viewing audience. It's going to be a great day. My pollution patrol will be singing on stage, and there will be science shows, environmental exhibits, costume contests, and even a litter-free picnic. Our big parade, with more than 2,000 school children dressed in environmental costumes, will begin at noon. So join us and celebrate Earth Day, Auntie Litter's way. As JJ and Auntie Litter continued to give details about the event, Evan's eyes grew wide with concern. He had no idea he was going to attend such a big celebration. Mrs. Bennett, his teacher, had given his class an assignment from Auntie Litter for those marching in the parade. Think of how you can take care of our land, water, and air, and create a costume based on the parade theme, Earth, We're in It Together. Evan, is that the field trip you're going on today? Asked his mother as she prepared his lunchbox. Yes, Mom, said Evan, but I don't think my costume is good enough to be in the parade. Oh, I'm sure it will be okay. Let's get your things together quickly. The bus will be here soon, his mother exclaimed. Evan finished his cereal and headed toward the front door. He picked up his backpack and lunchbox and stopped to give his mother a hug. I hope you have a good time today, son, his mother said as she waved goodbye. Evan saw his new friends walking toward the bus stop. He didn't notice the bits of trash along the sidewalk. He didn't see the aluminum can or glass bottle that could have been recycled. Like many people, Evan just never paid attention to litter. Hi, Evan, called Ruth, who was costumed as though she was standing in a shower. She had a hula hoop around her shoulders, draped with a plastic shower curtain, and the head of the mop was hanging down above her head like water coming out of a faucet. She was even wearing a shower cap. How do you like my costume? I want everyone to think about saving water and taking shorter showers, she said excitedly. What do you think? What about my costume? Chimed in Danny, who was dressed to look like a smokestack. wearing all black with a black and gray cardboard box surrounding him. His tall hat with cotton coming out of the top was painted black to look like smoke and soot. I want people thinking about being a solution to the pollution. Oh, Danny, you are so funny, laughed Ruth. But we both know pollution is not funny. It is very dangerous for all of us. Good costume. Evan, where's your costume? Before Evan could tell Ruth his concern, the yellow bus pulled up to the curb and the doors opened. One by one, the boys and girls climbed onto the bus. Evan was the last one to board. Hi, Evan, said Mrs. Wade, the bus driver. Are you going to be in the big Earth Day parade, she said. Yes, replied Evan as he took the seat behind her. But he didn't sound very excited. Mrs. Wade was going to chat with him, but she could tell something was on his mind. She reached for the handle and closed the doors. As the bus rolled down the street, Evan pulled his costume out of his book bag. It was a paper vest made from a grocery bag. He had drawn pictures of people enjoying the environment, sitting under trees in a park, hiking on rocks, swimming in a lake, and playing in the sand at the beach. But he realized his costume didn't show how to take care of our land, our water, and our air. Evan returned his paper vest to his backpack and waited for the bus to come to a halt in front of the school. Happy Earth Day, exclaimed Mrs. Bennett as the children entered the classroom. She was busy handing out green tote bags to each student. Now remember, children, this is a litter-free event. Auntie Litter has given each of us a reusable cloth tote bag to keep the park litter-free. We will use these to collect information from the exhibitors to teach our families what we learned today. Also remember, when we eat our lunch, we must put our trash and recyclables in the proper containers at the park. Now let's line up to board the bus. 4 buses carrying students from Evan's school pulled up to Kelly Park. The sun was shining brightly, and Evan could see huge oak trees gently swaying in the breeze. He could hear music playing in the distance and saw children singing on the stage. That must be the pollution patrol, he thought to himself. As he followed his teacher into the park, he noticed all the colorful exhibits, but more importantly, he noticed how clean the park was. What a beautiful place to spend Earth Day, he said. Mrs. Bennett found a perfect area under a big oak tree to lay their picnic blankets, lunchboxes, and costumes. She then called out to her students, "Get your tote bags and follow me. Let's celebrate Earth Day." One by one, the boys and girls lined up behind the teacher, who then led them to the first exhibit, where people were making paper hats from newspapers. "This is one way we can reuse newspapers," said the lady. "And if we recycle them, they will become new newspapers." Evan and his classmates had fun making paper hats and placed them on their heads. The next exhibit table had milk jugs, socks, and strings. "You see, boys and girls," the man was saying as he held up a milk jug, "you can make a game Auntie Litter calls Ball in the Jug. All you need is a rinsed out milk jug. Cut in half below the handle to make a scoop. Then make a ball from an old sock and attach it with a string to the jug. For safety, please ask an adult to cut the scoop for you." Evan and his classmates were enjoying swinging the sock balls in the air and catching them in the jugs. "Recycling this heavy type of plastic will save our trees," the man said. "It can be recycled to build park benches and picnic tables." Evan had never thought about reusing or recycling. He put this information in his tote bag. Eventually, Mrs. Bennett led her class to the stage area. Evan couldn't believe he was standing right in front of Auntie Litter and the pollution patrol. They were singing and dancing the recycle rap. The crowd was wild with excitement. They were saying the 3 R's as loudly as they could. Reuse, reduce waste, recycle. Even Mrs. Bennett was dancing. Then Auntie Litter introduced the next song and told the audience to sing these words with her. "Earth, we're in it together, forever and ever. Saving our water, land, and air. This is our planet to share." Evan was having so much fun singing and dancing with his new friends that he had forgotten about his costume in the parade. The class went back to their picnic blankets for lunch. Just as Evan was about to bite into his sandwich, he saw 2 dogs chasing each other. Before anyone could stop them, the dogs knocked over the trash can, and trash was flying everywhere. "Oh no," he shouted. "Litter! He dropped his sandwich and jumped into action chasing the trash. His teacher and classmates saw what was happening and they jumped up to help. Auntie Litter witnessed the earth-saving act and walked over to thank Evan and his classmates for keeping the park litter-free. "Auntie Litter, I'm glad to help," said Evan. "I have learned so much today about our earth and how each person can make a difference. I just wish I'd made a better costume to be in the parade." Auntie Litter knelt down to look at him in the eyes. "Evan, it's not the costume on the outside that's important. It's what's in your heart that counts. I can tell you really care about taking care of our earth. You proved that just now by keeping the park clean and beautiful." "Thank you, Auntie Litter," he replied. The students washed their hands and returned to eating their lunches. Evan suddenly realized the items he had just used could be reused to add to his costume. "Ruth, can you lend me 4 of your shower hooks?" he asked. Ruth reached over and unclamped 4 hooks. "Here," she said, and handed them to him. "Do you need my help?" Together the two friends took the used items from his lunchbox and clamped them onto his vest. He attached the banana peel to the ground in the park scene, his plastic water bottle floating to the lake scene, a cookie wrapper in the hiking scene, and put his sandwich bag on the beach scene. He pulled out his crayons from his tote bag and drew Auntie Litter's picture on the top right corner of the vest and wrote these words: "Share the vision she can see, America litter-free." He stood up, put on his vest and his newspaper hat, and said to Ruth, "Now I'm ready to march in the Earth Day parade." It was noon and the parade was about to begin. The policemen blocked off the city streets from oncoming traffic, and people from nearby businesses began to line the sidewalks. Mrs. Bennett walked her class to their assigned location in the parade. Auntie Litter was walking through the parade line up to see all the costumes and spotted Evan. "Evan, I like your costume," she said. "Would you like to lead the Earth Day parade with me?" Evan was smiling from ear to ear. He asked if Ruth and Danny could lead the parade too. "Of course," she said. Mrs. Bennett was thrilled that her students would have that honor. The high school band could be heard several blocks away with the beating of drums, clashing of cymbals, and sounding of horns. The parade came alive with school groups dressed in brightly colored costumes of flowers and trees, fish, trash cans, ocean waves, animals, and recycle robots. Each group was shouting and cheering together as they marched through the streets. "Save our environment! Reuse, reduce waste, recycle! Be a litter quitter!" Evan and Ruth and Danny proudly marched on either side of Auntie Litter and waved to the crowd, with the pollution patrol following close behind. As they turned the corner, Evan could see just how far down the street the parade extended. "Auntie Litter, this is the most exciting day of my life. I wish every day could be Earth Day." "Evan, every day is Earth Day," Auntie Litter answered proudly. As Evan rode home on the bus that afternoon, he saw litter on the streets and thought about what Auntie Litter said. As he stepped off the bus, he noticed litter in his neighborhood for the very first time. He reached in his Earth Day tote bag for his empty sandwich bag to cover his hand and another bag to pick up litter along the sidewalk. As he looked back from his front steps at his clean neighborhood, he smiled and said to himself, "Yes, Auntie Litter, every day is Earth Day."
Good story.
Good story.
So, is every day Earth Day?
Yes.
Do we think of it that way?
Yes.
Does everybody think of it that way?
Yes. No. No.
Have you ever seen people throw something out the car window?
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Have you ever seen litter on our beach at Gulf Shores?
Yes.
Do people even think that that litter might just blow and go in the water?
Yes.
They don't think about it. Some people do, some people don't. And we know what happens when it ends up in the water, don't we? What's going to happen?
The animals are going to die.
Wait, I'm looking at him. What's going to happen if all that trash
If
ends
it's
up in
a
the water?
plastic bag, the turtles will try to eat it, but they'll die because they think it's jellyfish. Jellyfish.
And you know what happens when you throw a hamburger wrapper out the window and an animal comes along and smells that wrapper? He thinks it's something to eat too. We have to take care of our land, our water, and our air. we have to take shorter showers and be a pollution to the solution to the pollution, right? Right. Tell me, what was your favorite part of the story? Raise your hand, please.
The end where he picked up the trash.
You liked it that he went back and noticed his neighborhood. What did you think as he was passing it by? Were you thinking to yourself, I've seen litter in my streets before? Has that ever dawned on you about your sidewalks? But you like the fact that he went and cleaned up. That's awesome. What do you like about the story?
It was funny how the dogs were chasing each other and then they knocked over the trash can.
Right.
That's funny.
And then trash is not trash, boys and girls, until it hits the ground. Then it becomes litter. This could be considered trash, although I would recycle my paper. But if I was going to throw something away, it's just trash. It's litter when it hits the ground. There's a difference between trash and litter. So we want to make sure that the trash or the recyclables don't become litter. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was when they told him that it doesn't matter about your costume. It matters about yeah.
Give me 5 on that. It doesn't matter about the costume on the outside. It's what's in your heart that counts. That was what came to me the very first day I wrote the book. I even cried when I wrote that line. Because I'd gotten the story that far. And then it was going to end. It was just going to be at that moment on the stage. At that moment on the stage, she was going to invite him to be in the parade when he admitted to her he didn't have a good costume. But then a friend of mine said, oh no, he needs to be the hero of the story. Something has to happen that makes him a hero. And that's when I added the dogs chasing each other. But do you know what? I didn't write that for 2 months. For 2 months, I put this book away. I was having what they call a writer's block. I didn't know that was what they call it, but that's what they call it. When the writer suddenly gets to a point, you go, I don't know how this ends. I don't know how I'm going to fix this problem. And I could see the parade because I'd been in the parade so many times. But I didn't know how I was going to fix the problem and make him a hero. All right, does anybody else have a favorite part of the story? What did you like?
My favorite part of the story when Evan and all his friends came up and picked the trash up.
His friends got up. He did it, and they did it. And you know what's true? That's the sad truth. When one person litters, other people think, well, they don't care about this neighborhood. I'll just litter here too. That's the mindset of a lot of people in this world. If they see litter on the ground, then they think, well, they don't care about this neighborhood. I'll just throw it over here in Gulf Shores. Gulf Shores doesn't care. Gulf Shores does care. You can look and see there's no trash on your streets. It means people here have what? They have pride in where they live. And what is that slogan that he wrote on the vest? That's my campaign slogan. What is it? Who remembers what it was? Share the vision. Who remembers what that sentence was that he wrote on the vest? Share the vision.
Don't litter.
Getting close. Getting close. Share the vision. She can see America litter free. Say it with me. Share the vision. She can see America litter free. Can you make a